Are you looking for save suggestions that are outside of the European leagues? Then look no further than this video because I've got some absolute crackers in here. Kicking off this list of recommendations is Chivas Guadalajara in Liga Mex in Mexico. They were formed in 1906 by a Belgian whose name I forget, and he modelled them after Club Brugge, the team that he supported growing up. And as you can see, they've got the similar type kit to Club Brugge, although Club Brugge now have different colours. They did have these colours back in 1906, and hence that's why the colours of the kit and where they are. They've got a new stadium built in the year 2010. Very, very good stadium. They've got big season ticket holders. They are one of Liga Mex's most supported clubs. And the reason for that is their uniqueness. They're only allowed to field Mexican players. A bit like Atletico Bilbao in Europe, only fielding Basque players. But for Chivas, you're only allowed Mexican players. And in real life, they're going through a European revival. They've got Fernando Hierro at the club. And they've just appointed Peñarol, who left Reading to come to Chivas to try and bring back Chivas to the promised land. They've had some good teams in the past, the best teams being in 2005 and 2006, where they made the semi-finals of the world-famous Copa Libertadores, which is the South American Champions League for anyone that doesn't know. They overcame some big teams and nearly made it to the final. Can you bring this team all the way to winning the Copa Libertadores, back to winning Liga Mex, of which they are one of the most successful clubs in Liga Mex's history? But not recently. They've been on a downward decline, hence this big European revival that's going on. And can you do it whilst taking players only from Mexico as well? That is the big challenge, only using the Mexican players. And if we take a look at their squad, as you can see, their squad is all Mexican players here. A lot of them may be new to you, some may be familiar as you may have picked them up on your save. But for me, the key men are these ones. They are Victor Guzman in the midfield. For me, I've had him on a few saves. He's unbelievable and he'll be a star player in your Liga Mex team for Chivas. He will be a national team player as well. He's an unbelievable player. If you haven't had him, go out and get him. But for Chivas, do everything you can to keep him because he's a big, big baller. Alexis Vega is another player off the wing, another young player who's got a lot of potential at Chivas, Mexican international with 19 caps and 1 goal only. Stats are fairly good. He's got 19 goals in nearly 100 games for Chivas, so don't expect big goal returns from this young man, but he could be someone that you could sell on for a profit and bring in better Mexican players down the line. And the last player that I want to cover is Roberto Alvarado, who's got a lot of potential. A lot of teams in Europe have been chasing this young man, and he's an explosive winger off the left wing, can play right wing as well, and you could also train him up to be a striker with the stats that he's got currently. Can you take Chivas all the way? Can you make them the greatest team in Mexican history, the greatest team in North American history, and the greatest team in South American football history, even though they are not based in the South American continent? Sticking with the North American theme of save recommendations, we're going to LA Galaxy next. And if you don't already, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot and it helps me keep helpful content like this going through the channel. But now back into the Galaxy. They are one of the founding clubs of the MLS back in 1996. They are one of the MLS's most successful clubs, going through what they call the David Beckham era, when he really elevated the MLS from one level until the level that it is now. He got the big time players to go and play in the MLS. He was the one that really kicked forward the league, and it was all done here at LA Galaxy. And they've not just only had players like David Beckham, they've had big American stars like Landon Donovan, they've had Robbie Keane, Mexican stars like current player Chicharito or Javier Hernandez as he likes to be known. They've also had Giovanni Dos Santos in the past, one of Mexico's most promising players who didn't quite make it out to be the player that he was when he started off at Barcelona. But recently, they've been overshadowed by their big, noisy neighbours in LAFC. Will Ferrell-backed LAFC have taken all the limelight away from the Galaxy. Can you bring them back to being the dominant team, first in LA and secondly in the US of A? They've got a fairly decent squad as well. One of the standout players has to be Ricky Puig. The Barcelona Academy graduate, played 42 games for Barcelona, wasn't part of Xavi's plans for Barcelona. So he's been fielded out to the Galaxy where he could really make his name. This player's got unbelievable talent. He's one of the best players, hands down, in the MLS, and he can single-handedly carry you on this save. As you can see, he can play midfield centre or he can play as a 10. For me, I always see him as like a deep lying or advanced playmaker, and that's how you really get the best out of Ricky Puig. An unbelievable move for LA Galaxy. And then you've got veterans like Chicharito Hernandez, West Ham, Man United legend, 109 caps for his country, Mexico, 52 goals. He's still an unbelievable finisher. His physicality might be declining massively, but mentally and technically will bag you goal after goal after goal in this league. He's an unbelievable goal scorer for this level, and if you can keep him going for the next few years, you've got a striker there that will score goals for you. But it's not only about their front line for the Galaxy. They have on loan Brazilian from Fluminense, Caligari, who is one of the best right backs on the game in my opinion, always develops into a top class right back. He won't be there long stay at the club, but if you can get the best out of him in the first season, you can really push up that conference table and hope to bring home even the MLS Cup trophy and then further on down the save the North American Champions League as well. The Galaxy really is an interesting save to pick. Next up, we move across the pond to Australia. Well, in fact, we're going to New Zealand, but they are a New Zealand team based in Australia's A-League. It is Wellington Phoenix, the only New Zealand team to be based in the A-League since the New Zealand Knights were crumbled years and years ago due to poor financial issues. These guys are representing New Zealand in Australia, and you could couple this with a New Zealand Build a Nation challenge if you wanted as well. So manage these and New Zealand and win everything with them. But back to the Phoenix. They have one of the best kits in the A-League, in my opinion. The black and yellow stripes, very, very reminiscent of a Borussia Dortmund. Their stadium was built in the year 2000. It's called the Sky Stadium now due to sponsorship. They have KPMG now and Sky sponsoring them. So some big, big backing for Wellington out in New Zealand, representing New Zealand in the A-League, as I've mentioned. And their team, they've got some good players. They've got some very good players, it has to be said. For A-League level, they've probably got some players you would have heard of. For me, Bodazar Kraev is one of the players I have heard of a lot. Being a fan of Bulgarian football, if you're not a fan of Bulgarian football, this guy is one of the best young Bulgarian talents in the world, but now finds himself out in New Zealand trying to revive his career after it didn't go so well for him at FC Midtjylland and Famalicão in Portugal. He'll be a key member of your squad, a great number 10, a brilliant number 10 for this division, definitely 5-star, will definitely provide assists and goals. He will be one to watch for your team. Coming out with that, you've got other players like Sam Sutton, a left-back, New Zealander. New Zealand are not short of a few left-backs. Empelis Kacheke came from here as well. I've ruined his name, but he's probably one of the best left-backs on Football Manager, and he's from New Zealand. And he came from the same academy that Sam Sutton also came from as well. He will represent the Kiwis, and he will do you proud. He will be one of the best left-backs in the league in a couple of years, and you could sell him on to a European club or another Asian club for a massive, massive profit. One last player to touch on will be Nico Boxall, New Zealand international centre-back, lot of experience coming to the club, 7 caps for New Zealand, one of the Kiwis' best centre-halves in my opinion. He will be one that could lead your club to ultimate glory. Can you take Wellington Phoenix all the way to winning the A-League? Can they become the first foreign team to win the A-League? And by foreign team, I mean non-Australian team to win the A-League. Can you go on to win Asian Champions Leagues, Oceania's Champions Leagues, and all that good stuff with them, and then potentially go on to win a Club World Cup? And can you take New Zealand all the way as well? They've been to a couple of World Cups, but they could be a sleeping giant. If you look at the other sports New Zealand are very good at, rugby for instance, if you can make football as popular as rugby, you will have an unbelievable nation on your hands. Next up, we are off to South America for this save, and we have chosen the Mañas Peñarol in Uruguay, formed in 1891 by employees of the Central Uruguayan Railway Company, as they established the Central Uruguayan Railway Cricket Club, as most clubs have become from cricket clubs to football clubs. They are now one of Uruguay's biggest and best teams in the Uruguayan League. They've got some unbelievable Uruguayan talent in their squad, and their youth academy, if you love new gens, this is the place to pick up new gens in your saves on Football Manager. So you will benefit from an unbelievable youth academy. You could also pair this again with a Uruguay Builder Nation if you wanted to as well. But let's take a look at the squad they've got. And you will notice a couple of players in here. If you've played Football Manager before, you will know them. First up for me, if we scroll down to the forward line, is Diego Roland. One of Uruguayan's top talents back in the day. Played for Deportivo La Coruña as well. Most recently at FC Juarez as well. He is one of Uruguay's top talents. One of their best players. Overshadowed by players like Suarez. So his talent didn't really come through for the national side. 25 goals. 25 caps even, 4 goals for the national team. But he will be a big baller in this division. He's far too good to be playing here. And his strike partner is the mercurial Abel Hernandez, who's played for top clubs in Europe. He's played for top clubs in South America. He's played for top clubs everywhere he's gone. He's played for Hull, Palermo. He started his career at Peñarol, and he's back here to have unfinished business. He will help you, fire you, 1 to the league, 2 to the Copa Libertadores. That's got to be the aim for this save, is can you make Peñarol win the Copa Libertadores? Can you turn this sleeping South American giant into the best team in South America? This for me is one of my most fun saves. I love South American saves. Not only can you win a lot of competitions, but you can also benefit from having those new gens in your academy from Uruguay, who we know always produce big time ballers. Last but by no means least on this list is Newell Old Boys in Argentina. And if you haven't heard of this club before, then you're really missing out. They were established on the 3rd of November 1903 by Claudio Newell. There we go, that's where the Newell comes from. It's from the man himself who made the club, and he was the club's first president also. But that's not the best thing about the club. The best thing about this club is their youth academy, and they've had players through the years that you will recognise as elite talents, kicking it off with the most famous one, the greatest footballer of all time, Lionel Messi, came through the Newell Old Boys Academy, and he's going to be, one of those players that will go down in the history of football as being the best. They've also had Gabriel Batistuta. Batigol himself came from Newell Old Boys. Ever Banega, one of the most hard-working midfielders in Argentina's history. One of the best centre-backs in Argentine's history also came through here. The Rock, Walter Samuel, what a player he was. And then you've got players like Gabriel Heinze, Maurizio Pochettino and Maxi Rodriguez, just to name a few of the world-class talents that have come through Newell's academy, making it a really fresh save. So you know you're going to produce world-class Argentinian talents right from the off in this save to propel Newell Old Boys as being one of the best teams in Argentina and start to challenge bigger clubs like River Plate and Boca Juniors to those titles, and then those Copa Libertadores titles. They're currently managed in real life by Gabriel Heinze, but their squad isn't what it used to be. You might say that they're lacking a lot of star talent in this squad, but they do have a few young players that caught my eye when I was looking through the squad. The young left-back, Martin Luciano, and as you know, this club can produce top-class defenders, Gabriel Heinze, as well as Walter Samuel, as we mentioned too. So these could be top class talent, a top class left back. Could he go on to be one of Argentina's best ever left backs? He will certainly become use in your squad whilst you're managing Newell Old Boys. And there's a few others as well. 19-year-old Juan Forza, a mercurial midfield player for Newell Old Boys. Another one that came through their youth academy. Could he replicate the career of an Ever Banega? Could he be the new Ever Banega? They've got history in producing these players. And then on the front line, we have to mention regular starter Justo Gianni. He's not Messi level, but he will help you in the first few years of this save. You could probably sell him on to another South American club or European club for good money and rebuild your squad that way. And as you know, you could rely on this club to produce those new gens to then bring more talent to the team, 2, bring more profit to the team, and 3, propel your club forward. And if you've liked this video, don't forget to like the video in the comments below. Drop a comment on which club you're going to manage. And if you don't already, do subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video.